Welcome to my movie recap. Today, we will highlight an Italian drama film titled Malèna. Let's get started. On June 10, 1940, in the small Sicilian town of Castelcado, a teenage boy named Renato experiences three major events. Italy enters World War II, he receives a new bike, and he first sees the beautiful and sensual Malèna, who is the most desired young woman in town. Her husband is in the armed forces fighting the British in Africa, and she lives alone. Because of her beauty and solitary status, she is an object of lust for all the town's men and of hatred for its women. She keeps an eye on her old father who lives alone, until he gets an anonymous note slandering her, which causes him to reject her. Renato becomes obsessed with Malèna, spying on her in her house and stalking her when she leaves it. To fuel his erotic fantasies, he steals some of her underwear from her clothesline. When his parents find it in his bedroom, they become upset and try to break his fixation. Malèna gets the news that her husband is killed, adding grief to her isolation. Rumors grow around her, which she unwisely fuels by allowing an unmarried Air Force officer to visit her after dark. When she is denounced and put on trial, the officer sends testimony that he was nothing more than an occasional friend. After her acquittal, her attorney pays her a visit and forces himself into her. Renato decides to be Malèna's protector, asking God and his saints to watch over her and performing little acts of vengeance against her detractors. He does not realize that his views of her are little better than those of the townspeople, and has no idea how Malèna herself feels. Meanwhile, the war reaches Sicily and the town is bombed by the Allies, killing her father. Now penniless and universally scorned, with nobody willing to give her work, she sinks into prostitution. The townsfolk are happy to see her as a whore rather than a dangerous widow. When Nazi forces occupied the town, Renato sees Malèna with two German soldiers doing some deeds. He faints because of this. His mother decides it is demonic possession, taking him to a priest for exorcism, but his more practical father takes the lad to the town brothel. There, Renato has sex with one of the prostitutes while fantasizing that the one giving her pleasure is Malèna. As the war is about to end, the Germans left and American troops enter the town, welcomed by ecstatic cheers. The women storm the hotel and drag out Malèna, ripping off her clothes, beating her and cutting off her hair. To escape further persecution, she leaves the hostile town. A few days later, her husband Nino, who has survived as a prisoner of war but lost an arm, comes back looking for her. His house has been taken over by displaced people and nobody wants to tell him how to find his wife. Renato leaves him an anonymous note saying that she still loves him but has suffered misfortunes and gone to the city of Messina. Years later, Nino and Malèna return and are seen strolling through the town. Women notice she now looks more matronly and plain. Even if she is still beautiful, since she is now married and living with her husband, they realize that she is no longer a threat. So people begin speaking of her with more respect. When she goes to the market, the women who beat her say good morning and call her madam. Walking home, some fruit falls from her bag and Renato rushes to pick it up. He wishes her good luck and she gives him an enigmatic half smile, the only time either has ever spoken to or looked openly at the other.